Alright, so here I have just going to go real quick through a deal that I found on LetGo. It was 17 games and a controller for $22. So really good deal on that. As you can see, there's some duplicates there. And actually the stacks there on the left are the ones that I'm keeping for my collection, and on the right are games that I had already. But um, at $22 for 17 games and a controller, that's, just good enough that I'll take the ones that I wanted, and the extras I'll just use for trading. So, not all of them have their manuals, but most of them do. So, very good deal. So first, the controller is just a PS2 blue controller. Very dirty, but looks to be in otherwise pretty good condition. So, be cleaning that up. First, let's go through the ones that I'm not keeping. A copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and a second copy of Greatest Hits version San Andreas. One of these has the manual and everything, and the other one doesn't. Copy of Final Fantasy 12, and that one's complete. More Final Fantasy X2, also complete. The next one is God of War, Greatest Hits version. God of War is actually one that I have sealed, so I kind of want to replace it just because I don't want the sealed version, but this one not in the greatest condition, and there's actually some writing on the manual there, so that won't be the one to replace it, but not a big deal. Next one is Final Fantasy X, and I think this one is not complete. Yeah, not complete. So yeah, a lot of them were missing the manuals, but it was cheap enough that I just bought everything. It's not like I asked the guy, "Oh, can I just buy those 4 games on the left that I need?" I just bought everything since it was cheap enough. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, and I think the disc actually looks different. I think it's for the Greatest Hits version or something like that. Second copy of Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, and I'll show you the disc so you can see it by comparison. That one's complete, so that's good. One of the better of the bunch here that maybe jump on it, of course, is Xenosaga Episode 1. I know that the third one's the really expensive one, but still a really good game, and I think this is worth a little bit, so it's complete, luckily. And I recently picked it up, actually, and the copy I have is better, but I think I spent like $6 on it, and this one was technically $1, so which goes to show. Could have had it for $1. Next one, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. That one's complete, the Greatest Hits version, but still a nice little pickup. Need for Speed Underground. This one also complete. Guess I don't have to open up each one. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. This one's in very bad condition. It's a disc only as well. And then Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. And that one I believe is also complete. Yep, sure is. And the disc quality on them, most of them have a few scratches, but they're not too bad. Anyway, so now the ones that I'm keeping. Resident Evil 4. I still don't have a copy of it. And this, unfortunately, is disc only, and it actually looks like it might be the Greatest Hits version as well. But still good to pick up. The best one of the bunch, Dot Hack Infection. This was the one that I really wanted to jump on, because these can definitely go up in price. And this one is complete. It has the DVD with it, as well as the game. You can see there's some damage on the bottom there, but otherwise it's in pretty good condition. So I was definitely happy to pick that up. That's I haven't gotten any of the dot hacks yet, GU or regular, so I'm happy to finally add that to the collection. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. This is also disc only, but I didn't have it, so nice little pickup to add in. with games like that, I do find that eventually I'll probably find it for $2 or $3 with the manual, and then I'll just end up having an extra copy. But that's okay. The idea is that I got it cheap, so I can have it in the collection. If I want to play it, I could play it and just get the manual later. Last one is Need for Speed Carbon, and I think this does have the manual. Yeah, sure does. It's interesting to me. Sometimes the manuals are black and white. I don't know what the reason is for that. Maybe somebody out there knows, but I assume there's color versions of it, but I don't know if that really matters. But yeah, just adding another Need for Speed to the collection. That entire pickup, like I said, is $22 on LetGo. So I was pretty surprised. I think the deal was only up for about a day, so it's not like I was the first person to see it probably, but there's enough in there. Usually you get these large lots and it's like 75% of them are sports games, so $1 a piece is probably about what they're worth anyway. But this was all good games. A few duplicates, but all good games in there, so very happy about that. So here you'll see everything I got went out Saturday. This is in May to a flea market, and I have some footage from that I'm going to try to put in. But it's the Quarry Creek is what it's known as, and this is my second time going to it, and I was definitely very happy that it's a good place to go, just because there's a lot of scattered stuff, but there was quite a few people there, and if they had games, they were usually pretty cheap. And you'll see I got some amazing deals, and I finally, this is the first time that I've gotten some handhelds as well for really good prices. I always see, people getting handheld consoles when they go out, especially garage sale, and it's like, oh, here's a Nintendo 3DS for $5 or something crazy like that. But I finally got some of those myself, so I'm pretty happy about that. So the first two here I'll look at are this copy of Wario Woods and Oddworlds for 10. The Wario Woods, the guy wouldn't come down on the price. He knew it was definitely worth a little more, so he had 10 on it. But I wanted to make a deal, so I went through the rest of his games. He had stuff scattered around, but I found an Oddworlds and said, would you give me both for 10? And he said, yeah. So the Oddworlds is complete. I don't know if it's really worth anything, but the Wario Woods is what I wanted, so managed to get that. The top stack there, I'll kind of go through a little bit later, but that is $15 for all of that. That was just a crazy this is the second time this has happened to me at that flea market. It happened to the first time I was there with PSP games, but I went up to this dealer. He just had 2 stacks of games there. That one stack was in 2 stacks, and he was just like, what would you pay for all of them? And I was like, all of them? And I settled on 15 because I counted about 17, 18 games, and I figured, well, about $1 a piece. So he said okay to that. Next to it here, I got all this for 12. This was a nice vendor who had a lot of mobile stuff. So mobile stuff, Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. I did pass on like a Pokemon Ruby. It was $10. I didn't really want to try to get it for cheaper, and I don't know that it goes for much more than that. So I just got these ones. He didn't have labeled, so I made an offer of 2 apiece. Kirby Dream Land, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance, and Turok, which is a very good pickup. Got quite a few N64 this time out, and this was basically 4 then. This DS, person really likes puppies, you can see. So we'll see if it works. I don't actually have the charger for this one, so unfortunately I can't test it right now. But for $4, I think it's worth the risk. But that's one of those deals I always see on garage sale videos where they get these consoles for super cheap, and a lot of time they work. Just above it here, you'll see these 3 games for $7. The Crash Bash is complete. The Alone in the Dark is missing the manual, but to get that on PS1, I was pretty happy about missing the manual there. But it's got disc 1, it's got disc 2, so that's awesome. And only $3. That's pretty good to me, even if it's missing the manual. But yeah, in the Wii Sports, he said he'd do $1 on. So I know the Wii Sports is usually worth like 10 to 15. So it's a good pickup. I am probably going to start trying to sell some stuff on eBay just to recoup some costs.
What are you
At least like
buying?
maybe some of the extra Wii consoles that I've been getting. So having an extra Wii Sports is good because I think that would go well when bundling that console. Anyway, so the next one was these two N64 games, Namco Museum and New Tetris for $5. They had 3 apiece on them, and I offered 4. They counted with 5, so $2.50 a N64 game. Not gonna pass that up. Top corner. Um, it's so funny. The stuff the where you find stuff is so funny because this guy had like $1 DVDs, stack of them, and normally it is just DVDs, and of course, but there's random Super Mario All Stars complete. I asked him how much for the game. He said 2. I'm fine with that. It's a good pickup to get. So the best save for last. These two here, I paid from the same person who I bought the 15 games from. I saw this DSi and then also this Game Boy. They didn't have any chargers, and they didn't know if they worked. So I took both, and it's like, would you do 5 for both? And they were fine with it, which is awesome. The Game Boy, was pretty dirty. I actually cleaned off the front because it was just so dirty. I didn't even want to try it, but yeah, you can see here. See if I can get it up on the camera. Yeah, it does have the screen issue that you see on a lot of them. See if I can. Here we go. Yeah, but it does work and the sound works. So I know a lot of people like to do backlit mods, so maybe I'll try that with this. That's my first original Game Boy, so for $2.50, yeah, definitely worth it. Yeah, there's a Sim 2 Castaway inside of this DSi, so that was good. I was able to charge it using my charger from my 2DS, and works fine. So that's pretty awesome. This is the kind of thing that I always see, and I was like, man, how do you do that? Because I shouldn't be able to pay $2.50 for a DSi XL, like this is the XL model. Alright, here's that stack of the $15 that I paid. Most of the PS3 games are complete. You can see there from the top left, Amazing Spider-Man 2, just the disc, Uncharted 3, Batman Arkham Asylum, Little Big Planet 2, Injustice Gods Among Us, W2K17, Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, X-Blades Inline Skater, PS1, Zoo Tycoon, which I believe is the first disc on the PC version, Dune 2000 for the PlayStation, which has the back, but unfortunately no manual. 2 copies of NFL Game Day 2002, and there's also this pin. It's kind of cool for Call of Duty World War II. So picked that up as a part of that set. And some more of the loose games were Minecraft, oh my god, Devil May Cry 4, Devil May Cry for PlayStation 2, Tomb Raider for PS1, and Bad Boys Miami Takedown. So, I mean, for what I paid, it's like a little less than $1 a piece, so pretty good. There's definitely some stuff in there that I'll keep for PS3, Fallout, Injustice, Batman. But it's one of those things where if they're gonna just throw the stack of games at me, I'm probably gonna buy it, just because I think that there's some that I'll keep that I probably wouldn't buy anyway, but some that I'll keep and then some that I can just trade in or use otherwise. So nice little stack, pretty good for $15. Here's the next 2 pickups I made after I left the flea market. I went to a pawn shop that I hadn't been to before. You can see there I paid $31 for all the stuff on the left there. 3 N64, 1 SNES, and 2 PS2 and 2 Wii. This place was a little strange because they had a lot of games. It was kind of a smaller town. They had a lot of games there, but they didn't have any prices on them. And when I asked the guy, he was like, "Oh, it depends on the game with the price." That's kind of a pet peeve of mine when that's the case, especially because I look through all the games, look through what I wanted, and as I mentioned them to him, he would go back to his computer, type a little bit, and then be like, okay, here's the price. I can give you. It's very very transparent on him looking up the prices to make sure he's not like giving me a $50 game, and it's just so frustrating because it's like you're making it inconvenient for both of us that I have to tell you the games that I want and you have to look them up and I have to find out what your price is. So I probably didn't buy as much as I would have. Fortunately, the PS2 games he was pretty good on. Resident Evil Outbreak, they're complete, and the Romance 9. Did three apiece on those. Same with the Resident Evils for the Wii. Those two are missing the manuals, which is unfortunate, but I figured it was worth it for some Resident Evils. I don't have any on the Wii, so happy to pick those up. The best lot, of course, is the N64 games. Jet Force Gemini, Quest 64, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And I've been looking for Quest 64 for a while. It's something I played as a kid, so I was happy to pick that up for, $5. And then the Tetris Attack as well. So the next two were from a flea market that I normally go to. They were 5 apiece. So not a crazy deal on those. They're probably worth $5. But there's stuff that I really wanted to add to the NES collection. This is the third pickup. The top left, I found a record, video game, kind of old stuff shop. This place is probably one of the most disorganized places I've seen. They had a shelf of games on one side, then a shelf of games on the other side of the store, and then literally games just stacked up in piles all around where the records were. And then they even had like a back room where they just had piles and piles of stuff, and I found something in there as well. But if you want to go searching through stuff at a store, this is the place. It is not, the organization is just out of the world. So anyway, I got the four from the top right there. The two NES games, pretty good condition, but I did pay 5 apiece. The guy wouldn't budge on the price. And the Treasure Planet was 3. It's complete. So that's nice to add to my PS2 collection. So kind of continuing that. And that's what a lot of these purchases were, just adding to that PS2 collection. But the Wii Sports was free. I asked him if he'd do 10 for all of it, and like I said, he wouldn't budge on the NES prices, but he said, "Oh, I'll give you the Wii Sports for free." So that's nice. Nice little bundler there. So always worth picking up. So the right, these are all like $2 to $3. The Nightfire was actually $1, but they're all complete. So I was happy to pick up some PS1 games as well. But yeah, 007 Nightfire, Medal of Honor Underground, Tetris Plus, Spider-Man, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, and that's actually interesting because it's a part of that collector's set that I just picked up the Crash Bash from. So I guess I'm piecing that collector's set together slowly but surely. Pinball Hall of Fame, Ben 10, and 13. So not many amazing titles in there. The Crash is nice. 13's an interesting game, but happy to add to the PS1 collection and keep the PS2 going. These are the kind of pickups that I'm looking for, where it's just $2 to $3. It's complete. It's in good condition, so I can just add it to the collection and keep it going. But yeah, that was those two pickups. So I was just hitting what I could on my way back from that flea market. So yeah, this was the third pickup. But the first, definitely that flea market was the best. The two flea markets that I'm looking at right now are that Croy Creek and the other one's the Belleville flea market. It's around St. Louis, and I've been to both now, and both are really good. There's just people there that some video game vendors, but then some people who just have games and they're willing to let them go for a few bucks a piece, and that's great because that means I can kind of grow my collection. Slowly but surely, and just have to go back out. And I like that I'm getting some older stuff too. I'm getting some N64 and a lot of N64 actually.